Hey everybody, this is Amelia from AmeliaMakes.com, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet the griddle stitch. I have a piece of griddle stitch right here, and it is very subtle. It's a very subtle texture, but I think if you try this stitch you're really going to fall in love with it because it's such a simple repeat, but it just gives you such a nice change from doing just single crochet or just half double crochet or just rows of one stitch altogether. This creates kind of a bumpy texture, and it actually, depending on the light and depending on even how the yarn, what kind of yarn you use, it creates almost like these squarish bumps on it. I think that angle's kind of showing that better. And so I can see why it's called the griddle stitch. This would be beautiful for so many different applications. Again, it's a very, very easy repeat, and I'm going to show you how to do it for yourself right now. Alright, so starting with my ball of yarn and my G-hook. This is about a heavy worsted or maybe an Aran weight yarn, and I'm using a G-hook. I'm going to start by chaining, and I'm going to chain an even number of stitches. You can do this with an odd number of stitches pretty easily. It's easy to adapt, but I'm going to start with an even number, and I'll show you why. And I am just going to do 16. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 16. Alright, so with my 16 stitches, I'm going to skip my first chain and I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and that's your first stitch in the pattern as well. Your single crochet, and next we're going to do a double crochet stitch. Next is a single crochet, and then a double crochet, and we're going to repeat that all the way across the row. Single crochet, double crochet, repeating until our very last stitch. Alright, for my last stitch I'm going to do a single crochet again to finish off the row. Now I'm going to chain one and turn, and the second row of this repeat is the opposite of what we just did. We're going to start with a double crochet and then do a single crochet. We're going to repeat that across the row until our last stitch, and because of the number of stitches we're ending up with an odd number of stitches. Every row that we start with a double crochet stitch will end with a double crochet stitch, just like the row we just did, which we started with a single crochet stitch, we ended with a single crochet stitch. This is why I like to do this number of stitches and have an odd number in the row. I just like starting and ending on the same stitch. But like I said, if you want to do an even number of stitches and start your work with an odd number of chains, that is totally fine. It just depends on your preference. Everything in the middle of the repeat to actually make the pattern is just alternating single and double crochets. So every time you have a single crochet stitch from the previous row, you're double crocheting into it, and every time you have a double crochet stitch from the previous row, you're single crocheting into it. I think I said that right. Alright, so now I'm starting row 3, which is the exact same as row 1. I started with a single crochet. I'm going to repeat the pattern for a few more rows. You can kind of start to see the little almost square shaped, the bumpy texture that comes with alternating these stitches, but in a few rows it's going to really start to pop. Alright, I'm going to stop here, and you can really see the pattern, and I hope you can see why this is one of my favorite stitches. It is just so beautifully textured and just subtle and comfortable and good for so many projects. Thanks so much for checking out this tutorial today. If it was helpful to you, please comment and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this, please go ahead and subscribe, or you can also find me on the blog at ameliamakes.com, where you can find more tutorials and projects and all things crochet. So thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.